FC25 is dying. But don't you worry, CMK's here with some updates to sliders. It can be like career mode CPR. We won't stop until FC26 raises its naughty little head. And we're back then, ladies and gentlemen, with another set of sliders. I know it's been overdue, but to be honest, I think it's been playing all right. It's not been too bad. But I know we've had a couple of updates, so I've got to update you lot. So we're going to start out with the simulation settings, then go over to CPU settings, gameplay. Then we'll go into the match and camera and things like that. So we'll do everything first couple of minutes, and then I'll go into the sliders and I'll just explain them a little bit more. So the simulation settings first. So gameplay type, of course, is going to be custom. It's going to be low wind effects and weather effects are off. I still don't trust them, to be honest. And the rain settings and things like that just still don't gel. Maybe better in FC26, I don't know. So then, sprint speed is at 38 for both the user and the CPU. Acceleration is going to be at 50. It makes it a little bit more challenging. You get closed down a little bit better. Shot error for the user is going to be 65, where the shot error for the CPU is going to be 55. Pass error for us is going to be 60. Pass error for the CPU at 57. Shot speed at 48 for both, and pass speed at 35 for both. Injury frequency at 70 for both, and 30 for severity for both the user and the CPU. Goalkeeper for the user is 55, whereas goalkeeper ability for the CPU is at 65. Marking, we've upped it to 60. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they're scoring, conceding too many goals, so we've upped that slightly. Run frequency, we've upped slightly to 30 for both. And line height, we've upped by 5 values up to 60 for both the user and the CPU. Line length is at 35 for both, and the line width is at 53 for both. Fullback positioning at 70 for both the user and the CPU, and also then the power bar we're keeping at 47. First touch control is going to be at 67 for both the user and the CPU. CPU sliders then, again, custom preset, and we've got tackle aggression at 61, build up speed at 60, shot frequency at 65, first touch pass frequency at 45, crossing 99, dribble at 40, and we've got the skill move frequency at 72. Right, gameplay settings very quickly. Custom preset, of course. We've got auto shots on off and assisted headers at off as well, with shot assistance being precision. Time finishing, get it out of here. Don't even talk to me about it. Auto flare pass off with the through pass assistance at semi, lobbed pass assistance at semi, and we've got ground pass assistance at semi as well. Manual for crossing assistance and manual for lob pass assistance as well, and the pass receiver being on late. And then the rest of them, I'll just show you all of those because we don't really change them. We don't really talk about it too much. I always have people asking me about this as well. I use half length being at 5 minutes, and I know people are going to come at me in the comments. Listen, I welcome it. Difficulty level, we always sit at ultimate, and as I say all the time, if you prefer it on legendary, go for it. I also think these would work for world class. Anything lower than that, probably not. As well as that, I've popped into the starter menu just to show you as well. I have competitor mode off, but I also play with player-based difficulty on. Again, I know people are going to get pissed off in the comments about that as well. If you don't like it, you can turn it off, but I prefer to have it on. And then the camera settings, last but not least, single player camera. I only play on single player, to be honest. Legacy, we go all the way down, and it will be 15 for height, 7 for zoom, far side focus on 10, ball tracking at 0, penalty area zoom on 0, and that is it, because we don't play with the rest. So then we'll just go back into it and have a look at some of the major values that have changed. Now, this is not going to be a long video because a lot of this stuff hasn't really changed, to be honest. I know I've had a few people talking about the fact that it's really slow, but I like it. I think it feels more realistic. I know in FC26 they're going to change it. It's going to be a little bit more dynamic, but I'm definitely going to try and slow the game down again, as I always do. I like it to feel like a realistic game. I like to see the game played like it is on TV. I know that's not for everyone, but for me, that's what feels really good. That's what feels really rewarding. But we'll go all the way down to some of the major changes then. So, like I said, all of this is staying pretty much the same. Except for, and we'll start with marking. Now, I've upped marking, I believe, by 5 values from the last one, and that was because I've had a few people telling me that it was a little bit too easy to score goals and a little bit too easy to concede goals. Now, against the bigger teams, against the better teams, you're always going to have the difficulty, but if you are a very good team or a mid kind of table Premier League team, then you are going to find it pretty easy to score against defenders if the marking is slightly lower than, I say, 55. I have upped it though to 60 just to give that level of challenge back to the game, and with the CPU being upped as well, it's going to make it a lot harder to score, absolutely, but also it's going to be really, really rewarding when you do score as well. And I played a couple of games with these sets of sliders. I also played one of the games where it was just a tactical view, so I allowed the 2 CPUs to play at it, and to be honest, it seemed like a really fun game. I think there were only 3 goals scored in the game that I played, and also I think there was only 1 goal scored in the tactical view game as well, so it feels like it's settled down. There's not a lot of goals going in and things like that, so a little bit more realistic for you guys. But again, these being upped by 5 values is going to make the game harder, but it's going to make it slightly easier to defend as well. So maybe lower scoring games. If you're into that, then brilliant. If not, drop it back down to 55. Run frequency, then I have upped it, I believe, to 30. So we've gone up 5 values as well. And again, I just felt like in some of the games that I was playing, my wingers and my fullbacks and things like that weren't really bombing on as much. They weren't really making those runs that I wanted. I know it's still quite a low value, but upping it by 5 towards that 30 mark has just felt a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more free-flowing. And again, for the CPU as well, it's going to make it slightly more difficult for you to defend. But of course, we've upped our marking value. So again, we've upped that run frequency, but we've also upped the marking value. So they should almost cancel each other out, but actually make it really challenging and really, really rewarding and really fun. Line height has been upped to 60. I was feeling that they were literally defending their box at times. I know I've experienced this a couple of times in my Benidorm career mode. In my Benidorm career mode, I do play like a 5 across midfield with 2 strikers and 3 at the back. So I'm constantly attacking and find it difficult really to kind of break teams down and things like that. So maybe upping this a little bit might mean that the defence come to meet me in midfield, means that I'll be able to slot balls in behind them and things like that. But I feel that this is, again, it brings back the challenge, so I'm not just being left alone in midfield so I can just spark off bangers, but also means that you're going to get that little bit of challenge as well in that midfield, a little bit bitey. I like it when it's a bit of a dog battle in the midfield. Line length, then, I think I've increased this slightly, and again, it's just that idea of making the pitch a little bit wider and a little bit more flowy, a little bit more dynamic. I did have this down really, really low, maybe at 25 at times this season. And actually, it does, if you go too low, it means that the game gets really, really scrappy. And soon as you pass through that midfield block or that high intensity kind of gegenpress, then all of a sudden you've got loads and loads of time, loads and loads of space, and it means that shots from midfield do tend to be a little bit easier. So again, this should increase a little bit of challenge, make sure that the game actually is slightly spread out so that you're not beating that press and beating that midfield block a little bit too easy by just one pass or something like that, but still gives you that opportunity to unlock your cams and things like that. And believe me, if you've been watching the Benidorm career mode, you will understand my cam, Ivy Lopez. What a channel legend the boy is. But it's really, really important to consider your tactics in these kind of things. In recent episodes, I've had Inis Hadji, who's dropped into a little bit more of a playmaker role than an out-and-out attacking midfielder, second striker. And I tell you what, the formation and the tactics are feeling absolutely blessed. Line width then, I think I have upped this slightly. I was getting a little bit too much time and space in the wide areas. I do play with two really out and out wide players. But I was finding as soon as they got the ball, they were just able to run down that line and swing crosses in. I know crosses are not great anyway, but I'm feeling that this gives a little bit more challenge to your wide players. It's not as easy just to bowl past someone. I played against Bournemouth as Aston Villa. I always come back to Villa and play a game with them, and I was playing against Bournemouth. And Kirkes just absolutely locked down Donyell Marlon. But then also on the other side, I had Leon Bailey and Jacob Ramsey. And I could barely get past Smith as well. So it meant that my wide players were actually a little bit less effective. So I had to utilise Morgan Rogers and Tielemans in the middle just to try and unlock Ollie Watkins a little bit in that midfield. So it did feel really challenging. And I had a really tough game actually against Bournemouth. Fullback positioning, I think we've stayed at 70, and I've also brought down the first touch error. I was finding that even some of my best players, some of my most technically gifted players were struggling with their first touches. I've only dropped it down by a little bit, so I think maybe 2 values, but it's feeling really nice as it is. So that is going to be our settings. I have changed none of the CPU sliders because I feel like it's really good. Tackle aggression is really good. In the episode that I'm just about to put out for Benidorm career mode, there's a very tasty game, let me put it that way, where 2 players get sent off. And I think it's around that tackle aggression. It's still not too high, but it means that your CPU are going to go after you at times, especially if the game's hotting up a little bit, which again is realistic. It's really nice. But the rest of them, I haven't changed. Feeling really good and really nice. But as always, geezers, that is your update on sliders. I know I've been lacking lately, but work commitments, life, being a dad, it's all really tough. But I am trying my best to get out as many videos as I can for you geezers. So it's much love from me. I will see ya very soon. Much love and peace.